am so excited. I cannot tell you how much I'm ready to jump out of my seat because I am meeting with the incredible, amazing Sharvette Mitchell, the Sharvette Mitchell at sharvettemitchell.com. And I'm just so thankful that you're here. So thank you for being my guest today.
Oh my goodness, it is my complete honor. It's my complete honor.
Well, I'm going to give you a little, intro based on your bio. I'm going to talk a little bit about what your bio says, but then I want to dive in to really get to know who you are so that the audience that's watching and listening can really, understand why they're going to get it right off the bat, why I chose you as a possible guest and why I think that you're such an amazing person to be able to speak to the power of video. So I'm going to read your bio and I'm going to share a few things that I know too. Sharvette Mitchell works with high achieving women entrepreneurs and a few lucky men to enable them to build their online platform so that they generate more revenue with an amazing personal brand. She does this in a couple of ways by focusing on their visibility and marketing with one on one consulting, group coaching programs, speaking, and hosting conferences. Sharvette is a graduate of Virginia Commonwealth University with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing. For over 13 years, she has hosted a weekly internet talk radio show. It's called the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Sharvette has been seen on CBS 6, the CW Network, and featured in publications such as Huffington Post. She is the visionary author of the book Collaborations Propel, the Essential Handbook for Emerging Women in Business and Leadership, Pour, the Secret Effects of Serving and Giving in Business and Leadership, and Pursue, Chase Your Goals and Run After Your Passions in Business, Life, and Leadership. So you can absolutely learn more at her website, sharvettemitchell.com. And we're going to talk about other ways that you can connect with Sharvette as well, because I know you're going to fall in love with her just like I did. I will tell you, I think that our first exposure, and Sharvette, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think that our first exposure was when we connected on social media. And you may have invited me to be a guest. I didn't know a whole heck of a lot about you at the time, but once I did connect, I was like, oh my God, she is all over the place. Everybody that I talk to, anytime I mention your name or your name comes up in conversation, Sharvette, it's like, oh, she's amazing. She's incredible. I was just meeting with Chuck Hawkins the other day and he said, oh my God, I love her.
Wow. So listen, it actually started sooner than that for me. So I was like stalking you online. I loved, I mean, for a few years, I loved your branding. I loved just everything that you put out. I think on Twitter was the first connection point. And so I loved everything that I saw about your visual brand. Like everything was so tight and crisp. And I think we have a similar background, maybe with either web design, graphics, something in that area. And so, yeah, I was internet stalking you for probably about 2 years.
That is so funny. Oh, so tell me, look, I know people love to hear the bios and you have some incredible, there's a background that is rich and full of just, I mean, amazing accomplishments. But tell us a little bit more about you beyond the bio. Like, what do you want people to know about Sharvette?
Yeah. You know what, Tanya? I am assigned to serve leaders. I've become very crystal clear with that in the area of visibility, marketing, branding, their positioning. And so I'm keenly focused in on women who are high achievers and really helping come alongside as a trusted guide to help shine a light on what they're doing and give them more exposure.
That's awesome. What made you decide that that was really where you needed to be, where you could serve most?
What I found a few years ago when I was providing web design services, that was my first business. And actually, one of the key things that helped me come off of my corporate job, if you will. And so, what I found was it was just a piece of it. Oftentimes it was either before the web design process, I needed to have worked with the person. Or after the web design process, it was like, well, what do I do now? Like, what's the next thing? And so I found that in particular, women, men too, because I do work with a few lucky men, but I found that there was more that was needed. And I was an early adopter of social media. I was an early adopter of live streaming back when OBS, when that first came out. And so that having that under my belt, I was able to start like working with people and giving them strategies. And it became really clear like high achieving women need someone that they feel like yourself, they feel confident with because can be an insecure space, right? It can be a space of fear. So they need to feel safe in a safe environment and that they're working with another leader. So that's kind of really how I honed in on that.
And at what point did you decide? Because I know you had a radio show. How did you decide, you know what, video is a thing that I need to grab a hold of? This is something I need to use.
So, my radio show, which actually started in a studio in Richmond, Virginia, 1540 AM, I was actually on the radio, and people started asking me, "Can I come on your show? Can I come on your show?" And at the time, I had like a 15-minute like show. It was very limited, and so I started looking. This was years ago for options of how could I interview other people, and found out about Blog Talk Radio, which is internet based. But when the pandemic hit, I heard one of your videos. Actually, I watched you. I don't know if you even knew this. I watched you talking about different streaming options, and one of the streaming options that you talked about offered an audio download. So I said, I can kill a couple birds with one stone. And I continued the talk show, but made it into a live video format. So now that not only do I have audio that goes into still the talk show studio, now I have audio that still goes to the podcast. Now I have video content, and that's how the show evolved. So I have continued doing it. It has not stopped, other than Christmas breaks, but evolved through live streaming. And I want to thank you for the tool that you shared that allowed me to transition that. StreamYard. You were the first person that I ever heard talk about StreamYard. I'll use your affiliate link. So hopefully you got some kickback. But yeah, StreamYard is a platform that I currently use, and that's because I heard about you and you talking about it.
Wow. Wow. Actually, you know what? With this conversation, that's the first that I knew that you did that. That is so funny.
All right.
So here's my question and follow up to that, because not everyone sees an opportunity like what you saw. So this is where I know that you're a true visionary, Sharvette, because you said, okay, I'm going to take this thing I was doing over here and I'm going to multiply it and create something else. What made you, was it just innate that you said to yourself, I'm going to put myself on video? Like what was what was the trigger that made you confident enough to not only present, audio, because that's one thing, and you definitely have to have a level of confidence there, but being on video, it can take you to a whole new space when it comes to courage. So what told you that it was time? Like, how did you know that you were ready for that? Was there anything that just kind of told you, yeah, I can do this? Or was there, a little bit of hesitancy?
So I jumped into live streaming just myself. So, doing tips and talking about different things related to business. So in and of myself by myself, I was doing live streaming. Used a couple things, was using a couple different things. But what I realized was that there was a couple things that I needed to continue to create content. How can I do that by the most efficient way? And so that really I was already comfortable myself being on camera, The next thing then was really around content. This, live streaming video content, the writing was all on the wall that the platforms want video. Now, podcasting is still wildly successful, and people are stepping into that work all the time. But it was really around, I need some more content. Video is the way that all of the platforms are going. This makes perfect sense. And I'm an action taker. I have friends that, we'll go to a training session together or a conference, and then I'm like implementing Monday. And they're like, you do not wait. Like, you jump in and implement. So I'm an implementer, I'm an action taker.
And that's so obvious in everything you do, to be honest with you. I can see it all over you. Everything that you produce, everything that you put together, it shows that you don't wait around. You say, okay, here's the vision, let's go. Because one thing I know, and this is one of my follow-up questions for you, because you do this so well. Not only do you do podcasting, live streaming, but you also have offline events. So I'm just curious, how do you make all of that stuff fly in formation? Because you have a major conference I know that's coming up, and I want to talk a little bit about that too. But how are you juggling all of these forms of marketing and media?
Yeah, they all go together. We all have to have multiple forms of media. But what I found out is the more you get in front of your audience with video, they're going to want to meet you. They're going to want to meet each other. I just, even on my show, even in the comments, I see listeners talking to themselves, talking to each other, I should say. And I'm sure you experienced that. So there's this community that starts building online around your videos or around your Facebook group. And so at some point, there is human interaction away from a screen and outside of a screen that a lot of people want. And so I really do feel like the video is a stepping stone because people feel like they know you by watching your videos. Like, it's the closest thing to being in person. So then the in-person event naturally evolved to say, okay, hey, let me take this community that's building online and create a space, produce a space for them to interact with me and with each other. And that's really a natural evolution.
That is really, I mean, it just sounds so simple. It sounds like synchronicity. When you say it just flows, which again is why you're so good at coaching and sharing and providing practical strategies for other people who are trying to put themselves into a visibility space. So roadblocks, let's talk about that, because I know it sounds like it's all flying in formation and it's easy for you. But maybe it didn't start off that easy for you. I know it didn't for me. So tell me about the time when you first started doing live streaming. What anxieties or fears did you have that you needed to overcome?
I would say, can I maneuver everything? So I have my notes. I'm a person that I'm going to have some notes or some points. I'm really like 3 points, 5 tips. Can I maneuver looking at notes? Can I maneuver checking comments? Can I maneuver? Do I have the camera right? So those kind of technical maneuvering things would be things that I would say I had to overcome.
And what do you think would be, if you were talking to someone who's just starting out and they're suffering from the same fear or anxiety, and I don't even want to say fear, but there's this comfort level that you have to grow into that you don't start with. What would be a piece of advice that you would give someone who was facing that same issue where they're like, oh my God, there's so many things to juggle. How do I make this work?
I would say number one, start with the simplest streaming option. So, for instance, if they're on Facebook, Facebook will let you go live and mark the privacy as only me. So that is a test bed. Only you are going to see it, but it gives you the opportunity to see what you look like, see what's on the screen, kind of position your notes and kind of practice looking at your camera if you're looking at notes or what have you. That is something that I recommend for people is to do a test run on Facebook, make the privacy only so nobody else will see it. And that'll raise your confidence level for at least the first time that you're going live. You're not trying to see, well, what am I, how do I end this? Have you ever seen that? Where people are like, I'm trying to figure out how to end this because they, that was their first time. So that's a recommendation.
That's awesome. Yes. Yes. Getting familiar with the dashboard and figuring out where everything is. Yeah. I see that a lot with new people, people who are new to live streaming. What about in terms of any other roadblocks? Is there any other advice that you would give to someone who is just starting to put themselves in the space of adopting video, even if they're not doing all the other things, but they're like, hey, it's time? Is there a piece of advice that you would share with someone to just get started when they're afraid?
Yes, you have something to say, and there are people that want to hear it. Oftentimes, I hear a roadblock of, I don't have anything to say. Are people going to actually listen? Yes, you have something to say, and people do want to hear it. If they feel like I can't handle trying to deliver content and look at myself on camera, turn the camera away from you. Maybe you're at an event, maybe you're somewhere outside and you can go live and the camera's not actually on you and you can still talk. Now, that may be a tool or a tip to help someone overcome. Do I really have something to say? And I got to focus on all this other stuff. Kind of turn into press and have the camera off of you, or do a slide share, screen share, where the words are on the screen and you can just focus on going live. So hopefully that will help somebody.
Love it, love it, love it. That's excellent advice, of course. Let's talk about, there's two more questions I have for you, Sharvette. So one, I definitely want to get into a little bit about your conference that's coming up, but I'm going to save that best for last. So before I ask you about the conference, because I definitely need to hear more about that and what is coming up for you, the question I have for you is gear, because that's another thing where people are like, I need to know what they're using. Like, what's your favorite piece of video equipment or gear that is a must have in your stockpile?
The webcam HD C920, I believe I have. So one of the webcams. So that would be definitely my top tool.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yes. And I can tell because you're so crystal clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love it. Okay, so let's talk about this conference because people need to know. Tell me a little bit about what's coming up. What is it called? And I believe I have a website link I'm going to pop up for us too. It is your sixth annual pop-up conference.
Yes, sixth annual pop-up conference for women entrepreneurs, and it's taking place live. You can feel humans in Richmond, Virginia, November 4th, 5th, and 6th. November 4th is reserved for VIP, but November 4th, 5th, and 6th. And it's a full conference, 8:30 a.m. to 6 in the afternoon. And we have main stage speakers, we have breakout rooms, and it's all about helping you with your visibility and growth of your business. That's really what the topics are. We have um, business owners that are coming that own brick and mortar cupcake shops. We have business owners that are mainly online. We have business owners that are coming to talk about how you can get into some of that government contracting money, what you do. Maybe you can get some of that. We have all kinds of entrepreneurs in their retirement. We have how to get business credit. And so it's really a plethora of topics that we have for the emerging and growing woman in business, even if it's a part-time or a side gig that you have now. It is really a great experience. And we've had keynote speakers such as Kim Coles, Living Single. We had Kalila Wright last year. If you follow Mess in the Bottle, she was featured by Target and a bunch of other areas. We have Sharice Jones. We've had her 2 years. She's based out of Richmond, the Sassy Jones Boutique. I'm actually wearing some of her pieces. She's on HSN. She's getting ready to release a ready to wear line. Just went bonkers because of live streaming. If you listen to her story, I don't know if you've ever, she'd be a great case study. If you ever hear her story, what blew her up with live streaming and her getting on and doing a HSN style every week blew up her business. And so she is a great case study that will be with us again as a keynote. And so heygirlhey.biz is where people can go check it out. We are rolling out the speakers, and we will definitely be on live stream talking about it.
I am really excited to hear more about this. And it's November 4th through 6th?
Yes.
Okay.
Richmond, Virginia.
In Richmond, Virginia. That is awesome. You know, I actually grew up, the first 5 years of my life were in Virginia, in Hampton.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't been back. Yeah. I haven't been back. I'm definitely going to come back so I can visit with one of the upcoming pop-ups for sure. So
love to have you.
Very excited, Sharvette, for you and just for all that you do to help people to be more visible and to just share your stage. Because I mean, again, that is one thing, that's one way that I really started to get to know who you are as a person, is just watching you show and share yourself on camera. And I just love that. I love how authentic you are. Is there one more piece of advice that you'd like to share, or how would you like to end this conversation in a way that really gives people something to walk away with so that they too can embrace the idea of video?
I would love to share my favorite quote, which is by H. Jackson Brown Jr. Opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor. On the dance floor with video.
You got to be on the dance floor. You got to be on there.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Sharvette, for spending some time with us this evening, or today, depending on when you're watching this, folks. We want to make sure that we are letting you know about the 6th annual pop-up conference. I still have that link up here, but also be sure that you visit Sharvette. You see her. Actually, we don't see her. There we go. SharvetteMitchell.com. Go check her out. Is this the best website? Are there other links that you would like for people to know about following you? Like, where do you currently live stream the most?
So SharvetteMitchell.com will get you to everything that I do, the conference, the radio show, all of that. And we're live streaming on Facebook, personal page, business page, the Sharvette. You can Google me. My Facebook group, we're live streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and then we take the video, repurpose it, and put it in Instagram. So all across the web.
See, she does it right. So this is someone that you have to model after, or at least take some things away that could apply effectively for your own business. Thank you again so much, Sharvette, for spending time with us. And I appreciate you so much and look forward to seeing how this pop-up conference goes.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
All right.